Good morning. So today we're going to continue a little bit in Proverbs, the 20th chapter. Last time we were together looked at verse 1 concerning the nature of alcohol and its abuse. But this morning we're going to look at verse 4 and also verse 13. They have something in common. But before we do that, if you could just click that like button there on your screen and maybe even subscribe to this particular program, we'd love to have you on Take 10 with Bill Holdridge. Just short devotional, expositional thoughts with application from the Word of God. 10 minutes or so in length. So that's what we're doing. So Proverbs chapter 20, verse 4 says, "The lazy man will not plow because of winter. He will beg during harvest and have nothing." The lazy man will not plow because of winter. He will beg during harvest and have nothing. The lazy man, the man who's not willing to work, the man who makes excuses for not working. Oh, it's wintertime. I can't get out and work. Or the weather's too bad. I can't get out and work. Or I don't have the right tools. I can't get out and work. Or there don't seem to be any jobs. I can't get out to work. You know, the myriad of excuses that the lazy man has. But when it comes right down to it, he'll beg during the harvest time when there's an abundance. There's grain everywhere. There's food everywhere available for everyone to eat, but he has nothing because he was lazy. And so the other verse we want to look at, and we'll talk about both of them together, is verse 13. "Do not love sleep, lest you come to poverty. Open your eyes, and you'll be satisfied with bread." In other words, don't be addicted to sleep because you can spend your life away in bed. And instead, open your eyes, go ahead and wake up. And when you do, and you do what your day's responsibilities require of you, you'll be satisfied with bread. Now, of course, the proverb isn't teaching that we shouldn't get enough sleep. Indeed, we should. I hear stories of people that can get by on 3-4 hours of sleep per night. I don't know if that's true or not. Physiologically, I can't imagine how they could endure when all of the research tells us we need 7 to 8 hours of sleep, a little bit more when we're in our teen years. So get right sleep, get proper sleep, and if you've got problems with sleeping, then find out what those problems are. Go to a sleep specialist. Maybe you need some sort of a device like a CPAP machine. Maybe you have sleep apnea. Maybe there's some kind of a medication you're taking which is preventing sleep. Maybe you've got pre-bedtime habits that are harmful or ineffective in helping you go to sleep. Get the right kind of sleep. But when it's time to wake up, wake up. Time to get going. Time to spend time with the Lord, get ready for the day, and carry out that day's responsibilities. Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing to wake up. I remember a song that I used to hear, and then I would sing it to my kids sometimes. I don't think they liked it too much when I would sing this song to them in the morning when they were needing to be rousted out of bed. Thankfully, they're both sound sleepers. But the lyrics go like this. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's time to rise and shine. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you're feeling fine. Come on and get up, get out of bed. Come on and get up, you sleepyhead. The day is dawning just for you, and all your dreams are coming true. I mentioned the lyrics to that song to a friend of mine here in East Texas. He said, "Oh yeah, that's an old song. That's been around for a long time." I didn't realize it predated my kids, but apparently it did. But a great song. Just time to get up, time to face the day, time to take on life's responsibilities with the power of the Lord and the help of the Lord, and let's go for it. So what do these two verses in Proverbs have in common? They have to do with a self-indulgent life, which produces laziness and produces an over preoccupation with sleep. These things reduce a person from being productive and keep him from carrying out his responsibilities and those that are depending upon him in life. I think it's possible to be very, very poor stewards of our lives, very, very poor stewards of our time, very poor stewards of our responsibilities. For me, work was something that was a learned behavior. I didn't grow up on a farm, didn't grow up on a ranch, didn't grow up with a dad that taught me the value of work. My work in my early years was taking care of the yard, front and the back. And that was a big responsibility. And then it morphed into other things when I started getting my first jobs. But I don't think I really liked work. In fact, I think I was kind of afraid of work. I had a friend who came from a family who worked hard. All of them are hard workers. The dad, the older brother, sister, my friend, they're all hard workers. And I got around them and I felt somewhat intimidated. And I learned a little bit. In fact, one of my very first jobs, I worked with my friend who was such a hard worker, plumbing swimming pools in Southern California. Hardest job I ever had. But I think what I had to learn is something that a lot of people have to learn. You have to learn how to work and learn how to not be afraid of work and realize the benefits of work. And work in and of itself is a good thing in terms of creativity and what we can produce, and it's honest and it's labor and it helps. It doesn't have to be physical labor. It can be mental labor. It can be spiritual labor. But nonetheless, it's work. It's responsibility. So not being afraid of work is important. Learning how to embrace work is very important. Learning how to love work and its plan in my life and in the life of those that I love. I remember pastoring one church in a transitional role one time, and we had a number of younger men, some of them not so young, probably in their 30s and 40s, that were just lazy. And they worked as few hours during a week as they possibly could and still survive. They lived on a bare bones budget. They, usually would rent a room in a house from somebody. And they were kind of known as being guys that would just mooch off other people. You knew that when they were around, they probably couldn't pay for what everybody else was buying in terms of a meal. So you felt inclined to help them. And they never had any money to be a blessing to anybody else themselves. And finally, I had enough. And I called them on the carpet. And I said, listen, this is what the Word of God says. In Ephesians chapter 4, it says, let him who stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands that which is good, that he might have something to give to him who has need. If I'm lazy and indolent and sitting around and not willing to work and living bare bones and leeching off other people and not having anything else to give, I'm really ripping off other people that I could be a blessing to. And of course, these guys, they didn't tithe and they didn't give to the Lord. So, it was just a messed up life. And I really believe that until they got that thing straightened out, they weren't going to be fruitful or productive believers. I remember this other guy in another church, the first church I pastored, he used to stand by the front door of the church, get into conversations with people that were coming out. He was a real affable guy, friendly, kind of outgoing, easy to talk to. But, the conversations would ultimately result in him asking for money or giving hints that he needed something. And ultimately people would feel sorry for him and be tempted to give something to him. But he wasn't working. So, of course, the elders had to get involved and say, listen, brother, if you won't work, if you're not willing to take care of your own responsibilities, neither should you eat. You don't have permission any longer to talk to people about your personal needs. You need to get a job. You are healthy. You are able-bodied. You've got a sharp enough intellect. Get to work. And to this problem, Paul wrote to the Thessalonians believers in chapter 3 of 2 Thessalonians and said the same thing. If any man will not work, he shall not eat. So the curse and the problem of laziness. Laziness is a bad thing. Laziness not only rips myself off, but it rips others off because it keeps me from being a blessing to them. working and learning how to work, I can become productive. I can become somebody that others can depend upon. I can discover my groove. And best case scenario, I can be passionate about what I do. I can be equipped and good and have the ability to do what I do. And I can make money at what I do. If those three things come together, the passion for it, the ability for it, and the ability to make an income from it, man, that's the golden triangle of the kind of job that's a good job. And you parents, when you've got your daughter considering a young man, interview the guy. Find out, is he a hard worker or not? If not, pray that guy out of your daughter's life, because he's not going to be a good thing for her. Anyway, so much more could be said. God bless you today, and thanks for joining us on Take 10 with Bill Holdridge. Subscribe or like if you would, and we'll see you next time.